Hi there. What we're going to do is we're going to look at WPF programming or GUI programming as an introduction. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new project and I'll make sure that this project is a WPF application. So make sure you select WPF application there. Give it a name. Once the project is loaded, one of the differences you'll notice between a WPF application and a console application is that you have a file called, well, the suffix XAML. So you have a main window.xaml, and if you open that up, you've got the main window.xaml.cs. This is sometimes referred to as code behind. So what XAML is a way of creating your user interface using the graphical designer and laying out kind of in the same way that you would perhaps with an HTML page, but it's a different markup language. So if we come back to the main window XAML, you can see a representation of the window here, and in this section below you can see the actual code to generate these. Now, just like HTML, what we need to remember is that if you open tags, you have to close them again. If you open a tag, you put things inside that object, then they exist within that container. What I'm going to show you today, or in this session very briefly, is the Toolbox, because the Toolbox contains the controls that you want to use. So I'm going to open up, you've got two main containers, the all WPF controls and the common WPF controls. The common has just a few of them in there that you use quite regularly, whereas if it's not in there, it will be contained within the all WPF controls box. What we're going to do is we're going to place a button on this page. It's going to be a very simple application. We're going to have a button. So as you can see, we've got a button here. If you left click, hold, drag and drop, it will place the button on your page. I can then click on this and move it around graphically to place it where I want. But what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to show you how we can do this using the properties panel at the bottom right. If you look here, you can see where we've dragged this button and it's created the XAML code for us. So we've got the button. So all of these tags open with the name of the element. This is the name given to this button. Now this is important because you need to give an element a name if you want to refer to it later on in your code behind, such as if we wanted to at runtime change maybe the content or the positioning of the element. So at the moment we are vertically aligned to the top, which means our alignment is to the top edge of the window, and horizontally aligned to the left. So you can see we don't have measurements on the right or the bottom here. We've got a measurement from the top and a measurement from the left. I can change these by actually just changing the code. Now you can see our button has a distance from the right and the top and not the left or the bottom, because that's where it's positioned. So if I were to resize this window, it will remain this and this distance from the top and the right. What we can do instead is we can position it centrally on the page, which is what we're going to do now. So if I come to the right hand side and you open up or expand the layout section, we have horizontal alignment and vertical alignment. You saw me manually change them here, but you can use these buttons to simply click. So I'm going to center and center it. Now you notice it changes center and center here. Okay. You'll notice that it's not in the middle of the page though, and that's because we already had a margin set. Now these are about these distances from top and left and so on. What you can do is you can go in and you can change these to be empty, or you can do that over here in these margin tabs. So it shows you this is the margin to the left. If you hover on them, it should give you the tooltip. To the right, margin from the top and margin from the bottom. You can use these to very accurately place your elements on the page. But so far, we've got a button. We've aligned it to the center with no margin, so it's exactly in the center. It's got a name called button. Sometimes on these buttons I'm prefixed with BTN and give it a name such as button 1. Okay, let's build this program. So F5 to build, and this is our application. As you see, if I resize it, the button remains in the center of the page. Next session we're going to look at events.